did a good job the last game. Your matchups in the fourth quarter kind of turned the tide there a little bit, like you talked. You put Eric in, frees up. What about this matchup when you're playing a team that's got three great 3-point shooters? How's your perimeter look going into this game with that matchup?
The good thing about our perimeter is that there's been different matchups that have been called on at different times this year that have worked in order to help us win games and give us the look that we want on one side of the ball or the other or both. And so I don't know exactly what it's going to look like other than we're going to have our hands full as it relates to um, Kentucky's guards, Kentucky's post. Georgia Amore is incredible, not only because of her ability to score and shoot and all the things, but her vision, the way she can get her teammates involved and make her team go. We're gonna. It's gonna be super important for us to try to slow them down in transition as much as possible. And one thing that is a familiar theme for us is not trading threes for twos. This might be the most important um, game all year where we have to make sure that doesn't happen just because of how great all three of those guards shoot it from the perimeter and how good Georgia is at shooting it, but also breaking you down and then creating help situations where they are now spraying it out and they're so good at sharing the ball and making the one more pass. She's almost 8 assists a game. So we have an idea of what that's going to look like. But also, it's why one of our strengths is just in terms of the different variety of looks our guards can give us. It could end up being any of those six guards that are out there.
So what from that Georgia game kind of gives you confidence, at the end of the day, knowing that it is a different piece that you're about to take
Well, I think number one, Georgia's guards are really fast. Kentucky's guards are really fast. We were able to, especially in the third and fourth quarter, slow them down and get them into a half court game, which is the most important thing for us tomorrow night is to not let them play in transition. They're hard to stop when you do that and you don't get checked up and you're chasing people around. I think we also just getting a win gave us confidence. We're continuing to get better, and even in our losses, we're continuing to get better. It always feels much better when you can see your improvement by watching a game that you won versus one that you improved in, but you didn't. Your outcome wasn't what you wanted it to be. I think coming off of the Georgia game, having a bye week on Sunday also gave us some time to let some players recover and medically take care of them the way we needed to. And for some players, it gave us a chance to get in some extra work and let them continue to take the next step as it relates to just their progression.
What is it about Coach Brooks' style that he's been able to take from Virginia Tech and now have pretty immediate success at Kentucky?
Well, I think number one, he had some really key players come with him. And then his ability to go into the transfer portal and secure some really huge transfers that played at other high level programs. He does an excellent job of having them play together in their system. So he's got just a complete team. When you look at his roster, he's got height, he's got length, he's got shooters, he's got drivers, he's athletic. They are number one in the country in block shots a game. And so they also have the ability to overextend or put some pressure on you defensively because they know they're going to run you into their rim protectors. And so it allows them to be aggressive in what they do on both sides of the basketball.
Having the Sunday off, did you like where that bye was at just in terms of your conference slate?
Actually did. We get two of them, and sometimes they're spread out, and sometimes they're too soon, too late. We can argue that this one was quick, but it was perfect for us and just where our team is in terms of the recovery we needed and a good time for us to work on ourselves to go into the second phase of SEC.
Amira,
Amira,
Amira, sorry.
no
Amira,
problem.
kind of what have you, I know she's an older player, so you know what you kind of wanted her to be, but how has she kind of developed into what she brings to this team?
Yeah, she's so fun to watch. I'm so happy for her and how she's continued to just get better. I'll take you back and just remind you that she wasn't here all summer. She missed practice. She didn't go on our foreign tour. She showed up when school started in August, so she was behind. And then as she's getting caught up, she loses her brother in a tragic way in terms of just it being a shock to all of us. And then she gets hurt. And so she's here and then she's not here and she's here and then she's not here. And all of that is valid in terms of where she is. And just her daily life and her daily walk. And so for her to be able to finally understand our system offensively and defensively, what we want. She's also playing a new position for us here versus what she did at SMU. So all of that is a factor into why we are just seeing the evolution of her probably on both sides of the basketball. But for us as coaches, it is what we watched in high school. She's from Georgia, so we are very familiar with her. It's what we watched on film when we were recruiting her last spring. And so we're just excited to see it come to fruition because number one, it's helpful for us, but also for everything that she has endured, for her to have some success on the basketball floor and to be able to help our team in a positive way. I just am really happy for her.
Happened last week. Forgot to ask you about, what about the ruling in the NCAA women's tournament, just like the men, as far as the money is concerned? I'm sure you talked to some of your cohorts. What's your thoughts about that?
Excited that it happened and that it passed. It's something that we have been fighting for a really long time and just could not move the needle on. And I think when you go back to the bubble in San Antonio and gender equity, and that's when the conversation came back up and just really had some validity to it. And so since that time, we've been really fighting to show the value that, not that we believe we have in women's basketball, we know what our value is. If you look at viewing numbers and the Final Four in the national championship game and just what those numbers were from a TV standpoint, we know what our value is and how our game is growing. But it's really hard to talk to presidents and athletic directors nationwide about our value when they don't see that we get revenue distribution or unit distribution the way the men do. And so for us to finally be able to quantify that with this, not the same exact amount, but with a starting amount that will obviously, have tiers to it as we continue to build it, I think it's an important step to continue to talk about how important our game is.
How about a philosophical question? Since you played Kentucky, you could see what the transfer portal did for them with Brooks. And now you talk about the money involved, whatever. Do you see more people hitting the transfer portal moving forward? Even yourself, do you see, because hindsight's the best side, you didn't think all your players were going to get hurt. You didn't use all your scholarships. Do you think the game and yourself particularly be hit the portal more moving forward?
Well, we look at the portal every year, and for us, yes, the portal is something that we look at that's very important, and we always want to be aware of who's in the transfer portal. I think for us, it still goes down to like what rules are we following as it relates to who we pull out of the portal. And that rule is the same rule we try to follow in recruiting high school student athletes. We want to know something about you. We want to have a relationship with you. We want to be able to have some type of past history with you. The transfer portal window opens in March and closes in May, and that's a very short time to get to know someone that you've never talked to before. And so it comes down to how well do you know that person? How much can you find out about that person in that amount of time? Because yes, they could possibly help you from a talent standpoint, but they are also people who you are bringing into your program and you're putting around and inserting into our community, our fans, and more importantly, our locker room. And that's not something that we just do on a whim to win games. We want to make sure that we are honoring the commitment and the promise we made to them, but also to the other young ladies in the locker room who we told we were going to have, quality human beings. And so, yes, the transfer portal is something that we will continue to look at and use and utilize, but within the framework of how we recruit and how we build this program.
And what about as far as when you look at the people you're competing against it? Do you feel you're on an equal level as far as NIL money and all that's concerned? Because I know that's tough, because football, everybody's kind of talking about 15 to 20 million.
Right.
I'm sure you don't have that much, but do you feel that you're equal with Georgia and Auburn or whatever? You guys, do you feel it's pretty equal right now?
We can always do better, right? We don't want to be equal. We want to be the best. Are we the best right now? No, we're not. So until we are the best as it relates to that, then we're not where we should be.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.